Hey guys, BA here with a video for Friday night's daily T&B report. I'm just getting back in, getting settled in from a week traveling up around Virginia area, so I wanted to crank out a video real quick and just pound in just a few more points on how to trade with the trend using Concept 1 and Entry Technique 2. I'll show you how I do it with the indicators I have. So let's go ahead and get started. So what you see up here on the board is on the charts, daily chart on top, CCI in this middle pane for the daily charts, and down here in the lower pane is the 15-minute chart. We've got FTI up here in the stock chart as our example, our little case study for the night. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, when I introduced Concept 1 and Entry Technique 2, I had you guys plug in the MACD indicator with some slight tweaks to the default settings so that you'd have a nice, smooth trend indicator. I also told you to plot the CCI, show it as a histogram. It's a little bit easier to see for the setup. So the setup is, in a bull market, is an uptrend in the MACD and the CCI slapping the floor. So that's your setup. Now once you have a setup, you have multiple ways to get into the trade. We focus on Entry Technique 2. It's the most logical way that I know of getting into the market, where you can set alerts, work your day job, get triggered in. It's also a pattern that is prevalent and present at every major turn, every minor turn in the market. It's in every time frame. I prefer using the 15-minute with a daily time frame. If you were intraday and say trading 30-minute charts as your upper chart, you would go down to a 5-minute entry down here. You want to stay somewhere around that factor of 5 to 1. Daily time frame and 1/5 of the time frame down here, somewhere thereabouts, somewhere close. All right, guys. So let me explain a little bit about what I have up on the screen here that's a little different from what you have. So I have my bars color coded. This is a trend indicator I use. It's something I've had programmed for myself, and I've also had a programmer to fix this up for me so I can plot this in my watch list. The reason I had you guys run MACD as a trend indicator is because not everybody that comes on board as a subscriber to the daily T&B report uses Thinkorswim. I can't translate my trend indicator into other platforms, TradeStation, IB's trading platform, CQG, whatever else anybody may be using, E-Trade, Fidelity. But everybody does have access to the MACD and the CCI. Those are all free. And we will arrive at the same conclusion in trend trades whenever we use the MACD and CCI, and whenever I use my trend indicator with the CCI. So we'll get to the same. The trend indicator I have here is something I'm not willing to give out because I do have, it has cost me to get it programmed. There's certain other things that I like using on smaller time frames with this. You'll see it's simply the smoothest, the earliest and the smoothest trend indicator I've found so far after testing at least a dozen trend indicators. So that's why that I just don't give this thing out. I want everybody using the same tools. Now, there might be a program a little bit later on where I try to distribute this, but we'll talk about that later. So let's get back to the task at hand, and that is working on setups for Concept 1 and Entry Technique 2. And this is how I use it with my color-coded trend indicators. And what I want you to understand is this color code, this is really the secret to my top and bottom analysis. And you'll see once you see how I use this, why I claim the service specializes in identifying tops and bottoms. All right, so we've got we'll pick this up here in November. We had a green bar here, so we turned green. We had the first slapping of the floor here and here. Let's go back and take a look at those periods. All right, so you can see that this area right here coincides with this area right here. All right, so nice line right there. CCI slaps the floor. You can see my indicator turns red. Now in my trading in real time, guys, I don't plot the CCI because my 15-minute bars turn red. That tells me that the CCI is in a position to watch for a setup. So you can run you see the market made a low back here. So we had the setup here. Now we switch to a lower time frame for entry technique 2. We're going down to the 15-minute. We make a low here. It rallies up, comes back down, and it takes out this bar right here. It takes out that swing high right there. So the beauty about the color code is it automatically tells you, when the market's changing dynamics. All right, so you could have really entered this market anywhere here where it came down, thrust back up in green. You could have entered anywhere in there and just come out on a stop at this level. So what I'm going to show you is I just want to reinforce entry technique 2 with concept 1, and then I also want to talk to you about when to actually exit trades for a loss using this technique. All right, so we get in somewhere. I'll say that I got in somewhere around this open right here. The market runs up, immediately rewards us, and then starts coming back down. I never worry about those markets that come back down like this, because what I'm looking for is, as long as this market, as long as my entry stays above this low back here, I am into the trade until I either, number one, hit my profit target, or I exit when the market takes this low out. So that's the money management rules. Now you'll notice that right here the market was red all the way down, and guess what? We had another floor slapping right there. So that was this area right here. Right there. All right, so now what you have is you're just waiting. If you're going into the close that day, you're like, well, Monday morning is a good chance this market's going to open up and take me out. But it didn't. Guess what it did? It opens up, it gets green again. So now this is what I want to reinforce. This is how I trade, around the bottoms. So the market opens up. Now I'm really convinced that this low back here is probably in. So we rally up, we come back in, get a little red right there, it turns green again. This low right here is higher than that low. Red area, red area, red area. Low, higher low, higher low. You could essentially make the assumption that, you have to make assumptions when you're trading this, that this market's definitely going higher from here. So you have a place, if we entered back here, you could also make another entry back here and add on to the position. You get a nice run up right there. So you probably would have got your profit target in that. So that's just a quick example of how I use the concept 1 trade with entry technique 2. And let me just make sure concept 1 you understand. There's a reason why I call it concept. The concept is a pullback in a trend. So no matter what trend indicator you use to identify the pullback, it will always be called a concept 1 trade for me, because the concept is the same. You may use different tools to identify the concept, but a pullback is a pullback. And for me, any pullback is a concept 1 type trade. All right, so that's just a quick example of concept 1 and entry technique 2. Just keep in mind, again, up, tests the low, comes back up again, takes out the swing high. You could enter right here. You're in the trade until it either takes this low out back here, or you get to your profit target. Pull back, comes back up again. You get another higher red area there. It turns green. You could get back in anywhere right in here. Run the trade up. You could take your profits at profit targets, or you could just let it run. Let's see how far this thing actually runs. You'd have been in a very nice long trade right there, guys. Definitely would have had a chance to, if you'd have stayed in 75% of the trade, you would have gotten well over a triple digit, probably 200% return or more on that trade right there. So that's an example of how I use the higher lows on bottoms, the visual tools I use, and how to manage that trade. I will continue to talk more and more about this, just to keep you familiar and get you more comfortable with using this concept. I also use other chart patterns with entry technique too. So I don't just trade entry technique 2, guys. I use a lot of other entry concepts to get us into trades, but I always fall back to the entry technique 2 type entries. So that won't change at all. The concept I use might change, but the entry technique will not. When I'm talking about option trades in trading futures markets, penny stocks a little different. We'll talk about those in depth as well. So hopefully this was helpful. This weekend in the blog, I'm going to try to write about another variation to buying calls and puts. So stay tuned for that piece. I hope everybody had a nice week. Have a good weekend. This is BA signing out.